forever, but I know they make you uncomfortable.
Pisces. That was the perfect lead-in. That was the perfect lead-in. We're still in New Orleans, but I couldn't be on the balcony because it's raining. Downpour. It's just like deluge of rain, Pisces. So join me basically in my bed. That's where I am right now. Connecting with your energy. The first thing that I was inclined to ask was, no, it wasn't really a question, to be honest with you. It was more of a statement, and that statement was, fake it till you make it. And the fake it till you make it was this aspect of yourself that you don't have as much confidence in as you want to have, but deciding that it can't hold you back anymore. It just can't. And knowing that if you gave into it or believed it, that it would hold you back. So there was a decision at some point, maybe not so recently, but in the last few months, where you were just like, okay, even if I can't really be okay, I'm going to behave okay. And not so that I can be fake, but so that I can basically fake it till I make it. In other words, hint to myself, or have almost like be the example for myself as to what I want to reach eventually. You know, a long time ago, one time at band camp, that's literally the story I'm going to tell you, because I was in the marching band. And one time at band camp, we had this heinous flag squad instructor that we all really couldn't stand. And her name was Sheila, and she talked like this, and everybody couldn't stand her. And I'm not making fun of her accent. It was a cute accent, but nobody could stand her because she was mean, pretty much. But we had this song, this drill for this song called Cascade. And it was a really upbeat song, but it was hard. We worked very hard in band. If you've ever done band camp, you know it is actually hard work. So we were doing a drill, and we would do them late at night. Like, it would be dark on the football field, and because we're only the band, we're not the football team, they wouldn't keep the lights on for us. So we'd be freezing cold in the dark on the football field, and really like having 9 o'clock at night. It was just irritating. Not just irritating, it was we were exhausted. We were high school kids, and we were exhausted. And she would be yelling at us from the sidelines. She would be like, all right, y'all, I want to see you smile. I want to see you smile. And we were livid at this woman who was insisting that we smile when we were all freezing to death and tired. And so when we smiled, we did it almost to make fun of her. And it became known as a cascade smile, because what ended up happening to us was we would all fake these ridiculous smiles to make fun of her, and we end up making each other laugh and then being really happy, like sincerely happy. And then the smiles were real because we had something to laugh about, something that connected us to each other. So this really reminds me of that cascade smile, the cascade smile of, I'm not happy. There's a big part of me that is completely cracking apart inside, but I don't want to crack apart inside. I know what I want, and I know what I'm capable of. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on that cascade smile in order, you know, maybe sometimes the smile doesn't start from inside. It starts from outside and it goes inside. So it's not necessarily you faking. It's you deciding, this is what I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to feel. It's you taking your external world, taking control of it by basically deciding how you're going to feel externally first. It's really not to deny what you've gone through, because I think that these feelings are completely they're not just relevant, they're on the surface. You're not trying to pretend like you don't still feel them. You just realize that they're not going to get you anywhere, and that they're not where putting your energy should be, because you do have things that are important to you. And the last thing that you want is those heartaches and those hardships to get in the way of your potential and what your future is going to be, because your future is extremely bright. So there is this sense of knowing that and focusing on that, instead of making the decision to just lose yourself in what would be the real fantasy, which is the sadness. And I don't mean that it's a fantasy because it's not really real. It's a fantasy because it's that stuck zone. It's the mists. It's where you could get lost. And you know you could get lost there, and you don't want to get lost there. So your decision is a wonderful one, to say, okay, this may be where my feelings want to stay stuck, but the rest of me isn't going to. And there is more of me than just what I feel. Not intuition feeling, but emotional feeling. You understand that you could get stuck here. And the last thing you want is to get stuck there, because you know it's a dead-end street. It's a quicksand. It's not where you want to be anymore. So let's get into your reading. Know your worth. Little flower. Remember Bambi's friend, little flower? He was a little skunk that loved the flowers. He just loved to smell the flowers. And it may be what everybody thought he shouldn't be or shouldn't do. You know, he was just this cute little skunk. So cute. He was a little boy skunk that loved hanging out in the flowers. He was the cutest little thing. And of course, he's a skunk, so he stinks. But he loves the smell of the flowers. So there's this sense of loving something that maybe the world doesn't think you're good enough for, right? But it doesn't really matter what they think. It matters what you are and where your heart leads you. And that's another part of this, a sense of, I don't have to start out deserving, right? I can become deserving along the lines, right? As long as I don't let other people define what that deserving is. Then we have this open to infinite possibilities. So there is this sense of allowing your star to shine, even though you're awkward, even though you are unexpected, or I just see him as being so adorably cute. A sense of faking that shine. Fake it till you make it. Like faking it because that's what you want to be. Right? And how do we manifest things? How do we manifest everything? We manifest it by living in the vibration of what we want to be. And that's what you're doing. You don't want to stay stuck, right? You want to become your full potential. And by the looks of these cards, you're absolutely on your way. You're absolutely on your way. And I've been getting those readings for you for the past, I would say, month at least, that there is something wonderful that you've been working on that is going to start blooming or blossoming for you. So this is that sense of you're not necessarily faking it, though. He's not necessarily faking it, is he? No, he's actually being very honest with who he is. You know, I'm a skunk who loves the flowers. That's what I love. And so that's where I'm going to be. I may not fit in there, right? My color scheme is all off. I don't really fit in. But that's, once again, that's external, right? What do I have to do? This is what I love. That's all I can say to these cards. This is what I love, so this is who I'm going to be. And realizing this wonderful sense of liberation and freedom, and yet you don't have to go anywhere to do it. So it's not like you have to take this big leap of faith or a big step forward. You have to realize that you have everything you need right where you are, and to essentially liberate yourself from this incessant need to try too hard, to be too much, to shine too bright, or to behave in a way that, you know, you have to impress everybody all the time. You have to smell as sweet as a flower when you're really a skunk. It's one thing to be playing among the flowers because you love the flowers. Like that's where you belong. It's another thing to try to love flowers because you want to cover up a part of yourself that you're disgusted by. You want to cover up your stink and behave like, well, I really smell like perfume. I'm not really a skunk. See, that's the downside of this energy that we're trying to stay away from, right? This idea of being something that we're not. Like I said, it's very different to have that little skunk want to hang out in those flowers because he loves the smell of the flowers. He appreciates the smell of the flower, not because he wants to use the smell of the flower to cover up his skunkiness, right? So why are you hanging out with the flowers? All right. And why are you putting on that smile? Are you putting on that cascade smile to help yourself be happier? To put yourself in the mood of happiness and choose happiness? Or are you doing it to hide this sense of feeling not good enough and not capable or sad? There is this essence of feeling drained and not being able to let go of a feeling that you're just not good enough. We have Aquarius energy and we have Aries energy. Basically making a decision that, see, this is Jiminy Cricket in the center, right? But when he's upside down, Pinocchio is not really listening to him, right? There's a sense of, did you listen to your conscience or did you listen to your ego? This sense of, are you liberated and free? Have you, like running away from what your conscience tells you, running away from what is internally telling you this isn't the right thing to do. What is the right thing to do? Listening to that strong sense of self, but not that false sense of self. Really interesting dynamic. And these are the cards that really, really not bug me, but really make me understand the whole reading, which is, you can't let go of something. There is this sense of almost having a grudge or regret or a sense of not being able to let something go because you feel diminished by it. You feel this sense of being lessened by it, and a sense of maybe not sticking up for yourself when you had the chance to stick up for yourself, not saying what you needed to say, or feeling like you held on to something that was important to you, and you kind of swallowed it and carried the heavy. And now it's just burdening you. This is a sense of just feeling drained completely and totally, like the air has been let out of your tires and that you're carrying too much weight. While on the surface, there's a sense of, hey, I'm so beautiful, I'm so pretty. I want you to really be able to enjoy the flowers, no matter who you are, whether you're a skunk or a pig or a hummingbird. I want you to be able to enjoy the flowers because you enjoy the actual flowers. Not because you want to appear like you're something that you're not, because there is this wonderful sense of the truth coming out, right? And the truth of who you really are being exposed. And in some ways, on some level, you're actually trying to avoid that. Why? Leave your reply in the comments. That would be really interesting. I would be really interesting to know why. What is it? What is this feeling that you have? That you need to pretend like everything is like, because I totally understand and I agree with you if you're acting like everything is okay because you want it to be okay. Like it's your future projection. But simultaneously, there has to be work that you're doing on that underneath part. You don't have to announce it to the world, but you do have to acknowledge it to yourself so that you can do something about it. So there's a sense of, one, which is very good, not focusing on it, right? Because you want to focus on the future and your capabilities and the harmony in your life. But then there's that other part of denying it, right? It's not the same thing. It's not the same. It's a big difference to focus on something that is can help you make progress, but versus completely and totally denying something is there. So I want you to focus on where you want to be and where you want to go. 100% Pisces, but acknowledge what's going on underneath. And like I said, you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell anybody. Though I do kind of feel like there's somebody who knows. Somebody who is maybe behaving as a conscience. And this person would be somebody that you would be extremely angry at this point. Because it's almost like they won't let you not acknowledge what's going on inside of you. There's a sense of in the presence of this person especially, you can't not acknowledge the parts of you that you feel are ugly. And it's not because they have anything to do with making you feel ugly, but it's just that they see you. It's like Jiminy Cricket and not wanting, like Pinocchio, not wanting to listen to him because it's irritating. It's not something that he wants to hear about himself. He wants to just think of all the things that he can do and wants to do. But it's not about progress. It's about denying who he really is. Who is he really? He's a puppet. And there is a way to get from being a puppet to a real boy. There is a hard way of doing it, and then there's a fast way of doing it. So I guess what this reading is really about is reevaluating your motives and getting them aligned to, yes, your actual potential and your full capabilities. This new moon in Cancer that's coming up is going to challenge us that way. Pisces, especially water signs, it's going to challenge us to hey, we have a lot of confidence in ourselves. We know what we deserve, but do we deserve it right now? Have we really gotten as far as we've wanted to get? Is our competency equal to our confidence? Or do we have some more hard work to go? Because really having confidence means, hey, I can get there by the end of this year, I can get there in 10 years. Either way, I know I deserve it and I know I'm going to get there, right? That's real confidence. That's real confidence, is not letting the timeline get to you. Needing that instantaneous gratification and that instantaneous validation is actually lack of confidence. So there's a sense of reassessing, why am I making these choices? Is it for the best parts of me, or is it motivated by the worst parts of me? I'm going to continue this reading. I do hope you join me in the extended. We'll get into a little bit of a romance reading over there too. Pisces, I'll see you in the extended.